You hold one every morning without thinking about it.
Billions of these are made every year, and the process behind them is older than most industries on Earth.
But the way they are made now has almost nothing in common with the way they were made a century ago.
What was once a kitchen craft is now a continuous chemical process running at industrial scale.
Before a soap bar exists, it begins as fat, most commonly palm oil, harvested in the tropics.
The fruit is pressed for its oil, the primary fat base used in most commercial soap worldwide.
The other key ingredient is sodium hydroxide, a strong alkali that makes the chemistry possible.
When fat meets alkali, a reaction called saponification.
In a modern factory, saponification does not happen in a pot. It happens inside pressurized reactors running continuously.
Oil and alkali are pumped in at controlled ratios, because the balance between them determines whether the final soap is mild or harsh.
Heat and pressure drive the reaction fast. What once took days in a kettle now takes hours in a tower.
What comes out is crude soap, fully reacted but still carrying water, glycerin, and excess alkali.
Glycerin is separated here because it is worth more on its own, used in cosmetics, food, and pharmaceuticals.
The soap itself moves on, still far from solid, still carrying water that has to be removed.
A vacuum dryer removes water fast without overheating the soap. What comes out is dry soap tuhis, flaked or chipped, with most of the water gone.
These noodles are the raw material that everything else is built from.
The noodles are tested before anything is added, because the base have to be right first.
Now the base soap gets everything that makes one bar different from another.
Fragrance is measured carefully because too much irritates skin and too little disappears in a week. Color is added at this stage so it distributes evenly through the entire batch. The mixer has one job: make every part of the batch identical in scent, color, and moisture. Before the batch moves on, a sample is checked by hand against the product standard. The refiner crushes the soap between rollers to remove air and make the texture perfectly smooth.
What comes off the refiner is dense, uniform, and free of air. The plotter compresses the soap and pushes it toward a die at the front. A vacuum plotter also removes trapped air, which prevents cracks and soft spots in the final bar.
What comes out is a continuous bar, smooth, solid, and exactly the right cross-section. A cutter splits the bar into identical pieces, each one sized for the final product.
It looks close to finished, but it has no brand yet.
The stamping press gives the bar its final shape and its brand in one hit.
One press stroke shapes the bar, embosses the logo, and squeezes out the excess.
When the die opens, the bar has its final identity. From this point, every bar looks exactly the same. Nothing is wasted. The excess goes back into the next batch.
Before wrapping, cameras check every bar for surface defects and shape. Every bar is weighed because the number on the wrapper has to match what is inside. Sample bars are aged artificially to predict how they will hold up on a store shelf.
If one bar in a batch fails, the process parameters are reviewed before the line continues.
Wrapping happens fast. The machine folds, seals, and releases each bar in under a second.
The wrapper protects the fragrance and carries every piece of information the customer needs.
Bars are grouped into retail cartons automatically.
Palletized, wrapped, and labeled Elbrid, the last step inside the factory.
Behind this truck, the line is already making the next batch.
On a shelf, it competes with hundreds. What wins is how it feels, how it smells, and how it lathers.
And all of that was decided back at the mixer, the refiner, and the press.
Fat from a tree. Alkali from a chemical plant. Combined, dried, mixed, pressed, and stamped.
One process, billions of bars, in every bathroom, every hotel, every clinic, every home.
Something you hold for 30 seconds a day. Built through chemistry, pressure, and machines running every shift.
What surprised you most about how soap is made? Tell us in the comments.
Next on Process Pulse Factory, another product you use without thinking, built in ways you would not expect.
Process Pulse Factory. Subscribe for the next build.